Hello, my name is Melania and I'm going to be presenting my research on an artist of my choice. I chose Rudolph Carl Gorman as my artist to research. I was fascinated that he was a Native American artist, so therefore I felt intrigued to read more about him. Gorman was a Navajo man and he grew up traditionally as most Navajo people do on Indian reservations. Amazingly, he had artistic talent since the age 3. He continued to blossom with his artwork until his death. His grandmother was his biggest supporter, which he appreciated so much. She encouraged him even when others doubted his ability to succeed. RC is a nickname to differentiate him from his father. He was very flamboyant, always wearing bandanas and Hawaiian shirts. He wanted to stand out in the crowd, taking pride in being Native American. He was born in Chile, Arizona in 1931. Being raised in the Navajo way allowed him to wear his traditional regalia most of the time with bandanas and turquoise in their belts. That made him very happy given his personality. He may not have had much money, being less fortunate than most, but money didn't matter. His father had been a code talker during the World War II and was an artist in his own right. After World War II, Gorman's father became a spotlight artist for Native Americans. In fact, Carl attended Otis Art Institute in Los Angeles, California on his GI Bill, where he formally studied the Masters of Europe. Never forgetting who he was, a Navajo with a proud history and tradition, Carl was not afraid to experiment with the visions in his head of his traditional Navajo ways combined with more formal world of Western art. He refused to be confined to the stereotypical outlook of Native American art, which was often flat and two-dimensional. Consequently, he practiced with paintings and various methods as well as other mediums. I mentioned a lot about his father because he was responsible for opening doors for many Indian artists, including his son, Rudolph Carl Gorman. RC had the benefit of this as well as being very fortunate to have the ability to be schooled by so many artists, allowing him both to experience different cultures as well as many skills firsthand. These showed up later in his paintings. Gorman had many side jobs while attending school, such as being a nude model, painting, and maintaining a job at the post office. His gallery experience was another amazing example of how many opportunities fell into his lap. In fact, the Navajo Gallery was the very first one to be owned by a Native American. He received many honorary degrees, including ones from Harvard and Eastern New Mexico University, as well as Gando College. He was awarded the New Mexico's Governor's Award of Excellence. A lot of major world events were taking place during his lifetime, such as World War II, Vietnam War, Civil Rights Movement, and the war in Afghanistan. Psychedelic arts of the 1960s and body art of the 1990s didn't seem to affect him. He stayed true to his Navajo ways and images of his life growing up. His biggest influence was in Mexico City, where he experienced Mexican muralist artwork firsthand. Navajo women were also a big influence because of his shared culture. In his autobiography, he said, "Navajos have always had respect for strong, powerful women who would go out and chop wood, herd sheep, have babies in the field. My Indian woman isn't glamorous, but she is beautiful. She is earthy, nurturing, and is a constant challenge to capture her infinite variety." In the 1970s, Gorman was recognized in the New Indian art movement. In the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, he was the only living artist in the 1973 exhibit. In the Metropolitan Museum of Art nicknamed him the Picasso of American Indian art. While Gorman has handled such subject matter as interpretations of Navajo rugs and pottery designs, his most successful and best received works have been his studies of Navajo women. In his paintings, Gorman grouped women in conventional poses or portrayed them in domestic pursuits, ranging from solid affirmations to revelations of inner beauty and grace. Using various media, Gorman sometimes painted acrylics or drew the same subject in pastels and pencils. He worked out personal technical processes and used these with great effectiveness. His style was well suited to lithographs, which has produced in a great number. He has also produced sculptures. The six functions of art are art self-expression, which implies because it's a reflection of his people and culture, and art commemoration because he remembers how strong and important Navajo women are. Sometimes his artwork seemed to be, or some said his artwork seemed to be the following, seemed to be following a formula instead of his own instincts. Others said he was repetitive and uninspired, but Arcia is okay with the fact that some are not as enthralled with his work. But me personally, I think his artwork shows a true reflection of who he is, and he's very proud to be Native American. He also died in 2005.